It is a sobering truth
that for the average American worker, the fundamental promise of capitalism, that hard work leads to commensurate reward, has been profoundly broken. Consider this stark reality. Since 1979, the net productivity of the US economy has soared by an astonishing 64.7%. Yet, over that very same period, the hourly compensation for the vast majority of American workers has climbed by a mere 17.3%. This colossal disparity, meticulously tracked by institutions such as the Economic Policy Institute, drawing from Bureau of Labor Statistics data, represents more than just an abstract economic statistic. It is the insidious force quietly eroding the financial security of millions, fostering a persistent struggle for families who, by all traditional metrics, should be thriving. For decades following the Second World War, the prosperity of American businesses and their workforce generally moved in tandem. As companies grew more efficient, their employees typically saw their pay rise, enabling a robust middle class and fostering a sense of shared progress. It was an era where increased output often meant a bigger slice of the pie for everyone contributing to its creation. However, somewhere around the early 1970s, this crucial link began to fray. The productivity of the American worker continued its upward trajectory, powered by technological advancements, better education, and more efficient processes. But the benefits of this increased output, rather than being broadly distributed, increasingly flowed towards the top, creating a chasm between the value workers generate and the wages they receive. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a measurable, demonstrable shift in our economic architecture. So, what exactly has caused this gaping divergence? One might argue that a confluence of powerful economic and societal shifts has systematically weakened the bargaining power of the American worker. Crucially, we've witnessed a dramatic decline in union membership. In 1983, 20.1% of wage and salary workers belonged to a union. By 2023, that figure had plummeted to just 10%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This erosion of collective bargaining removes a powerful counterbalance to corporate power. Simultaneously, the relentless pursuit of shareholder value above all else has taken precedence. Corporations, driven by pressures from investors, have increasingly prioritized stock buybacks, dividend payments, and, most notably, executive compensation over significant wage increases for their general workforce. Indeed, the CEO-to-worker compensation ratio, which stood at 20-1 in 1965, had exploded to an astonishing 344-1 by 2022, as reported by the Economic Policy Institute. Furthermore, the federal minimum wage, a critical flaw for many entry-level positions, has remained stubbornly at $7.25 an hour since 2009. Adjusted for inflation, its real value peaked in 1968 at $1.60, which equates to approximately $14.10 in today's purchasing power. This persistent stagnation means the lowest earners have seen their spending power dramatically diminish over time, despite producing more. The implications of this widening gap are profound and deeply personal for millions of Americans. It means that despite working harder, often taking on second jobs or longer hours, families find it increasingly difficult to afford basic necessities. The dream of home ownership, once a hallmark of middle-class stability, seems more distant than ever for many. The median home price in the U.S. has quadrupled since 1990, rising to over $400,000 by late 2023, while real wages for a significant portion of the population have seen nowhere near comparable growth. This forces reliance on credit, pushing total U.S. household debt to a staggering $17.5 trillion in the fourth quarter of 2023, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. It signifies chronic financial stress, limited opportunities for saving and investment, and a palpable sense of economic insecurity. It fosters a generation burdened by student loan debt, struggling with healthcare costs, and facing a retirement landscape far more precarious than their parents. This isn't merely about individuals making poor financial choices. It is about a system increasingly rigged against the very people who power its engine. The truth is, your continued struggle is not necessarily a reflection of your effort or your worth, but rather a symptom of a deeply imbalanced economic structure. Understanding this fundamental disconnect is the first step towards reclaiming your financial agency. Do not simply accept that your compensation is fair because it aligns with market rates. Question the underlying forces that shape those rates. Educate yourself on your true value in the marketplace and arm yourself with the data to negotiate effectively. Support policies and initiatives that advocate for a fairer distribution of economic gains, whether through stronger labor protections, a living minimum wage, or a re-evaluation of corporate priorities. Most importantly, demand transparency. Insist on knowing where the value you create is truly going. Because until workers collectively grasp the immense leverage they possess through their productivity, the great American paycheck lie will continue to quietly, but devastatingly, undermine the financial reality of millions. It is time to wake up and demand what is truly owed.